Good afternoon and welcome to Titan Talk. Hey guys, I want to apologize for being a little more than a little late today. We had some stuff we had to deal with before we got on.
It's all Coop's fault. That's actually, well, it's both of ours.
I'll blame us both. So we appreciate your patience with us, and here we are. So today you got myself, and we have our wonderful local talent, Captain McFarland.
Hello.
Today we're going to bring back our career corner, and we're also going to talk a little bit about doing security in bad weather. So today's career corner is going to be more fitted towards hotels and apartments and that type of setting. The expectation of security for that versus the grocery store setting that we've talked about and some other ones that we'll talk about in the future. The expectations are obviously going to be a little bit different because you've got permanent clientele that are there either during the day when they should be sleeping because they're overnight, or they're there at night when they're off of work and resting and getting sleep.
Or they work from home.
Exactly. And so the expectations and the things that you're going to deal with are a little bit different than what you would deal with at a grocery store or some of the other settings that we in security deal with or you deal with in the law enforcement field. So some of the expectations we wanted to go over and kind of clear some of that up.
And the weather. It is poopy. Have you seen it?
I was not expecting you to do that.
What, poopy?
Yeah.
Poopy weather.
You led up to like you're going to do something real different.
I was going to say a cuss word, but I was like, no, I can be better. I can be better. I can be better. No, if you guys are on right now, make sure you guys are paying attention. I know dispatch has been sending out updates, so we're all over. So there's a good chance that somebody's going to be affected by this. Make sure you're paying attention. Have weather alerts on your phone. It's okay if you need to check. I would prefer that you do that. So just be alert, pay attention, and know your operations, the order of operations, what you're supposed to do in the event that there is a severe storm or something like that. So reach out to the LT phone and get supervisor guidance on that if you need it. But yeah, so just be careful. It's dark out there, so it feels like nighttime.
It does.
I've been here at night a handful of times, and I'm like,
A lot.
it's not that late yet. It's been a long day. So, but yeah, we're here. So this is my first
Career corner.
career corner.
Yeah.
So we did grocery stores, and is
So-
that the only one we've done?
Well, this will be our.
Excuse me.
I hope I'm right on this, but I think this is our second one. I've done a lot of shows.
Nobody
man.
does it without you, man. You're the only one.
I do. I
The
know.
show only goes on because of you.
Yeah, but I also plan every show, so it kind of bleeds
Yeah, they all
together.
bleed together. So
When you're talking about planning the shows and everything, I've got a list of them on my phone that I bring up, and so dude, it just
So I will start off just because, well, I guess you're patrol too, but I'll give my 2 cents on the patrol side of things from my knowledge
I
of
guess
working.
you were patrol too.
Yeah, kind of. Back in the old days. Horse,
Back in my
buggy
day.
and carriage, no patrol cars. Those are the darts back then.
I had it before the darts. I had it, Crown Vics,
No,
Chargers,
oh,
and
08.
Avengers.
I had 08. That was a 290,000 miles on that.
Oh no,
Crown
it was
Vic.
well over that. We
That-
replaced the dashboard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no,
Well,
that car was at like 500,000.
to get the AC to work, you had to tap on the little compressor.
Look, I said we replaced the dashboard. I didn't say we did a good job.
Yeah, no, that was a good car. She was a good old girl. She got me through a lot of patrols, a lot
Big
of
old
nights.
gaping hole in the passenger floorboard.
Yeah, that, and then, no. But I liked it because it had a light bar. It was one of the few we had a light bar. So when I would actually check, this is more patrol perspective of apartments and overnights, but I had alley lights I could use. So I could do that instead of having to hang a flashlight. And we didn't have a spotlight on the side mirror. So it was nice to have alley lights. So I always picked that car. And
See, back when
there
I
was good with bad with it.
back
It
when I
wasn't
drove
luxury.
it, the spotlight worked.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, probably, but yeah, you check. Alley lights, check vehicles, stuff like that. So when you are at a site like that, you want to be checking the vehicles, checking garages. That is a
And
hot spot.
when we're saying checking vehicles, you're looking for obvious signs of damage,
Broken glass,
windows, doors gaping ajar. Something we used to check for as well is if we were walking the parking lot, which our patrol officers routinely do, is they'll check for expensive items in there, iPhones, tablets, laptops, sitting in there, and we'll leave a note, a little, looks like similar to a ticket, so that way no one really looks at it second, and the resident would check it in the morning, go, oh, I left my laptop in there, uh-oh.
Yeah, it's unsecured
Yeah.
something. I used to do them when I would do some of the neighborhood patrols we had. I'd wake up somebody at 3 a.m. and they'd be like, "What do you need?" And I'm like, "Your garage door's open, and
Yeah.
you have a Corvette in there, so you probably want to shut your garage door." And they're like, "Oh my God, thank you." They're like, "What's going on?" And they're like, "Oh, you're here to help." So
I had one of our shopping centers we did I rolled up on as a supervisor, and I was checking on the officer that we had that was walking the entire thing, and I rolled up and there was a 911 Porsche in front of the grocery store there, just running. It was a convertible, so the top was down. It was running. I pulled up behind it and I parked, and I was like, I'm gonna wait here.
Yeah.
It's like this is a $90,000 vehicle. It's in a relatively nice neighborhood at the same time, but it was one of those.
Matter. Yeah.
I was gonna say that doesn't matter. The lady came out and she was upset because I was parked behind her. I said, I just want you to know the reason I did it is because you left your car running. And she goes, oh, I didn't even think about that. I'm like, that's okay. That's why I'm here, is because I saw that and I decided to make sure that your vehicle stayed here.
Right.
And checked her registration, make sure it was her, so she didn't just hop in the car and leave.
No, nice.
Verified, and
there you go.
I skedaddled.
But yeah,
it's little things like that where you're checking apartments or you're checking something. You're making sure that the apartments are fine. There's no physical damage like broken windows or gaping doors open on
kicked
the
in
apartments,
doors,
something like that, or vehicle damage,
odd
property
smells,
damage. Yep,
gas smell. Looking for leaks. We usually have access to all the stairwells for like their fire suppression systems, and so constantly just keeping our clients and our residents at peace of mind when we're on site, so that we're checking all those things, because management's not going to be there. A good one to do for the overnight guys, and all our overnight veterans know this, is light audits.
Mm-hmm.
Your typical property manager is not going to be there after hours. It's a typical,
and neither is maintenance.
Yeah, and so they don't know what lights work and don't work, because obviously during the daytime they're not on. So if you see certain areas of the parking lot that are dimly lit or could use more light, always do an incident report with your suggestion. Clients love to see that, and it just shows that we're out there actually, really paying attention and trying to service
to not just the big stuff, but to the little stuff.
Exactly.
The little thing like a light. Clients love that because it shows that you're actually paying attention to the property, not just to the potentiality of somebody getting hurt or anything like that. You're paying attention and you want their property to be the best it can be.
It doesn't always have to be fire, fight, or blood, or firefight or flood blood.
Fire, flood, or blood.
Yeah, sure. It doesn't have to be all the gruesome, gory stuff. It can be, the
little items.
Yep. And so that stuff makes a big difference. And also it makes your property that you're at safer. So if you are well lit, criminals don't like lights. It's easier to see them on camera. It's easier to get a description. It's easier to be able to articulate to somebody that this happened at this place versus that was a dark corner. I couldn't really see what happened. So, or we don't know, and so those things are things you should be doing to stay proactive. And then, like we said, on your rounds, look for just out of the ordinary stuff. Just use officer discretion on things like that. And if you're questioning it, call the supervisor and say, hey, this unit's been unlocked a bunch, I keep doing reports on it. That way, then we can reach out to the client and say, hey, I know you're getting these reports, but we also want to bring to your attention that, hey, this is a repeat issue, and then that tenant may not be there anymore. So there's always, we can always kick up stuff like that will help.
We've come across it on patrol when we're doing the apartments, and someone will either be moving out or they'll have been evicted or whatever the case may be, and the door will be locked one day. We'll find it unsecured, find out from management, oh, they came back and picked up their stuff. They must have forgot to lock it. Come back 2 or 3 days later and the door's still open. It's like, hey, this is still unsecured. And they go, well, it wasn't yesterday. And they go, look, and there's actually damage to the door. It's been kicked open. There's somebody living in there now.
Right.
Or
squatter, yeah.
Or there's damage to the apartment.
And those of you guys that work overnights, you guys are already on overnight schedule, and we're constantly trying to expand patrol. And so if someone shows promise that, hey, this guy's been really taking care of, client so-and-so on the overnight, then that's a really good resume builder for you to go, hey, I'd really like to try patrol. I've got a clean driving record. I'm armed, and I think I could, help the team out. And we go back and look at some of we'll pull reports that you've done and see that, you're operating at a level of a patrol officer, and so that we can utilize you there. And we're more than happy to move you guys into those positions. So that's a good way to say, hey, I'm here, I'm paying attention, and I want to move up. So always try to stay proactive in those sites. All sites, but that's just because of the fact you're already overnights, and you'll transition to a patrol position pretty easily.
It doesn't take as much work to transition your sleep schedule.
Yep, because majority of our patrols overnights. We have a handful on during the day, and that's when our supervisors are on as well. So the overnights is where we need our patrol officers the most. Yep. So that comes with apartments, hotels.
The light audits are going to be super big at the hotels because as you're walking through, they've got that night auditor who usually can't leave the front desk area.
Yep.
So as you're doing your rounds, you check on the floors, you check in the parking lots, the parking garages, depending on what apartment or what a hotel it is. And you see that there's, parking garage, 5th floor, back corner. You can say, hey, I'm going to make an incident report to this. I'm going to let you know so you can make a report or an update to your maintenance, or you fill out a maintenance log for it so they can let them know. But I'm going to fill this out. But I'm telling you so you can make them aware as well. And they get it on two fronts. Not only does the client get it, but the maintenance team also gets it. And so the client can say, hey, I got this report. Did you get it? Oh, yeah, I did. Okay, I'm fixing it today. And they can line that up. And they love that stuff because it's showing the initiative that I'm not only here to keep myself and your employees safe, but your patrons and your clients and everybody else.
In the facility. I mean, if you're having to do rounds in a back alley of a building and it's dark, it's dangerous for you. Yeah, and so we want those concerns brought to us so we can take them to the client, and so that way the client can make the appropriate. And I can almost guarantee you 10 times out of 10 they're like, fantastic, yes, we'll get some lighting out there. So
Absolutely.
Other than that, that's kind of our gist of it. As far as when you're going through the parking lots or the parking garages, be vigilant, look for that stuff. That's a very high crime very high activity area for theft, auto burgs, and stuff like that. So that's why we have those rounds out there, and those of you guys that work it regularly know that. So continue to do that. That's a very good. It's a very good thing for us to do for the clients when it comes to going through those garages and things, because nobody wants to walk out to their car and have broken into. It's a nightmare. And
if you've ever had it,
very
the
rarely solved. yeah. It's a personally haven't had it happen, but I've been with lots of people over my career where it happens, and it's a very invasive. It's a very, very.
It's upsetting. Yeah. I've had it happen at my house where my light broke.
And then someone stole something off your porch.
No, they broke my window and stole subs out of my truck.
Oh wow! But but somebody stole off your porch too. Remember?
Oh yeah. I totally forgot about that. Right off the porch. Well, that was mid-daylight though.
Right. So they'll do it anytime.
God, it was horrible.
What else?
Why are you gonna bring that up? That was painful.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to relive it. It's okay.
They
should have hired Titan to make sure nobody stole from your porch. Titan wasn't out there. We can't be everywhere, but we try.
We're close. We're not close enough. So the next one would be security during bad weather. When it comes to bad weather, whether it be heavy rains, hail, tornado watch, tornado warning, and all of that stuff, you want to take
mudslides.
What?
Hurricanes.
Okay.
No, but
listen,
like today, you're gonna have high winds, hail,
heavy rain, hail, things like that. If you have a post where they want you to do a bunch of exterior walk, obviously, if it's torrential downpour, it's hailing, not a good idea.
Yep.
Put yourself at risk of injury. Put yourself at risk of someone not seeing you on the sidewalk and mounting the sidewalk with a car.
Yep.
Any number of things could go wrong. So you take that into account when you're doing that.
So what you do then, to interrupt because that's my job.
That's all
what you do at that point is make a report. Take a picture of, the sidewalk's got 2 inches of water flowing over it, and make sure you make a good report. That way the client's understanding, and your supervisor, because we're going to call you and go, hey, how come you weren't doing your reports? Everything's GPS, and we have locators on property, the QR codes and stuff that indicate when you are at places during your rounds. And if we see that there's a lack of rounds being done, we're going to address it and say, hey, what's going on here? And that way you say, well, sir, sir, ma'am, we had a torrential downpour, and the sidewalk was, covered in water. So I took a picture and updated the client. We're like, perfect. That's exactly what we want you to do. So in those events, document what you find. Snow's the same way. There's ice. Yeah. That way the client understands. And then that way they can address it with their maintenance and say, hey, we need to hit this with ice melt, when we have bad weather. Or if we do have heavy rains, this part of the building is going to be inaccessible. And so those are things that you can do to keep yourself busy and also keep yourself safe. If you look outside and it looks like it does right now, call your supervisor. Hey, I
can already see the wind taking off here.
It's hard to see the trees, how dark it is in here right now, but you can see.
With all the lights and everything, yeah.
I think Toto flew by. I actually watched that the other day.
Let's see. Beatty, if you want, text me after we're done, and I'll answer that question for you. That is the wrong answer below that, but text me and I'll give you the answer to that. Absolutely, Kansas is extremely well known for their hurricanes.
Yeah, and mudslides. Tsunamis.
All right. We appreciate you stopping by. Be safe out there yourself. So you take that stuff into account. Like I said, it always makes the client happy when you send those reports in, whether it be for lighting or bad weather, and you're taking that stuff in. It is pouring rain now.
Holy smokes.
It is going to be a bad walk to the car.
We may have to cut it short.
Fantastic. Other than that,
Nowhere to shelter in place, things like that.
exactly. When it comes to tornadoes and stuff like that, every property that we have, I know it has a shelter in place. Be sure you know where that is and you know how to get there and how to funnel people there. Keep that stuff in mind. Some properties might close down during inclement weather or horrible weather for safety purposes. So keep that in mind as well. When we get those updates, we try to update you guys as fast as we can and get those out to you so you guys can stay safe. And if you're out on the road driving, that's another big one. Please be safe while you're doing that in inclement weather. When you've got torrential downpours, hail, snow, ice, all of that stuff.
Get your radio on so you can get broadcasts of that stuff.
Yep.
You know, get under an overpass if needed. You know, address those accordingly. But yeah, make sure you guys are allotting for a little more time for travel because you're going to have probably accidents and things to work through. Very similar to the winter when you have a snow event. These events can really shut down traffic. So just be careful. Update us if you guys are running late. Let us know so we can update clients. Things like that help us keep that communication line open because we have to suffer the weather together. Yeah. So we don't expect you to be Superman or Superwoman. So we expect you guys just to communicate and let us know what's going on at those sites and when you're running late and things like that. So.
Yep. So we'll dive into the weather, although it seems kind of monotonous at this point due to the weather outside.
Yeah, I meant to look at that.
It is going to rain all night is what it's calling for. There's 74% chance all the way through the end of the night. Saturday, it's supposed to be